All right, now, everybody. Quiet, listen to me. We're going to start a show. Now, some of you people have been with me before. You know it's going to be a tough grind, but we're going to have a show.
I'm delighted. We have the whole crew. It's our Friday. Greeting to you all, wherever you are, however you join us, whenever you join us. Welcome all. Yes. We're a live show. We're on from 2 to 4 Eastern Time, and I will tell you that we are an audio podcast that is provided for iHeartRadio, for Spotify, for Apple Podcasts, and for most reputable, reasonable, and respected podcast platforms. We are here for you as an audio podcast. 2 solid hours. And when I say 2 solid hours, I don't mean the whole show is solid. I mean that's how long the show is on. If you get the distinction I'm trying to make. Kim is here.
Kim, how are you?
She's watching all news events except the ones that she doesn't follow. And Albert.
Albert, thank you.
Is here as well. And Albert has been busy this morning. It has been a busy morning on the West Coast, which is where we emanate this broadcast from. I'm excited, though, for the holidays, and that's why I'm in a festive mood. I'm also in a festive mood because Mo Kelly and Michael Shure come in hour 2, and we will sort out a bit of this past week. The Mad King coming on television to speak to the nation. He did a 18 to 20 minute prompter wedded run through all the stuff that's important to Donald Trump. And we will review some of that with Michael Shure and Mo Kelly. And by the way, Albert, I didn't mention this to you before the show, but I did mention it to you yesterday. We will need to revisit a little of that address with them. So please have that at the ready, if you would. I have news of the comet that came so very close to the U.S. and to the Earth. But of course, the U.S. is the only important nation on Earth, isn't that? That's what I'm learning from the people in charge of the U.S. now. It's America first, America last, America, America, America. And the comet, an interstellar comet, first spotted passing through our solar system in July, is starting its departure. Flying by Earth, scientists capturing new images during the approach. It's known as 31/Atlas because that's catchy. Yeah. They were working with several different, working titles, but they decided on 31 Atlas or 3I Atlas. I can't tell if it's a 1 or an I. Yeah. But apparently, not visible to the naked eye, but still producing images that are being picked up and recorded by telescope. So there is a virtual telescope project and a live stream of the comet that will be streaming online tomorrow. So check your local listings for the comet near you. I don't need to tell you. I mean, there was a special guiding star that led the wise men to Jesus. And this comet, is it a coincidence? It's also coming during Chinooka. And this is like, I think, slap dab right in the middle of Chinooka. We can only ask Smokey Robinson. Smokey?
Hey, Marco.
Yeah? Hey, what's up, Smoke?
How you doing?
All right.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah.
This is Smokey Robinson. I know you didn't expect to hear from me, but I was contacted by your sons, Jeff and Jared, and they told me that you used to live in Detroit across the street from me. And gosh, that's beautiful. How you doing again? Nice talking to you again, I guess. But anyway, you're living in Vancouver now. And they wanted me to wish you happy Chinooka. I have no idea what Chinooka is, but happy Chinooka because they said so. Anyway, God bless you, babe. And enjoy
God bless
Chinooka.
you, buddy. God bless you. And here's to Chinooka. I'm all over it. Chinooka, Chinooka. Oh, my God. This is that holiday blend from Coachella Valley Coffee. I'm drinking it from a Project 1984.5 mug from our website. Look, there's a chip on the mug. I've chipped it already. Gosh, I can't be trusted with anything valuable.
What did you do? Got a little
I think I'd probably knock it into another mug.
Coffee section?
It was mug on mug crime is what happened.
No.
And yeah, pretty sad. But the Project 1984.5 mug, and of course our tasteful logo on the backside. If you want it, it's at getmarkmerch.com. But the Coachella Valley coffee you really love. Find it at CoachellaValleyCoffee.com, the holiday blend, and then there's a holiday gift pack, and you can get 10% off that. So they've already packaged it for the holidays, Chinooka or for Christmas, and you can get it at CoachellaValleyCoffee.com, but use our discount code MARKT. You'll get discounted 10% off the holiday gift set. So definitely check it out. And I think, and I'm not sure, we were talking about this yesterday, that they're pretty good about getting the stuff out quickly.
Yeah, they're
so
fast
if you
shippers.
order like today, it might actually get there before Christmas. And it'll, I mean, probably, I don't know how many days are left in Chinooka. Probably maybe you can finish Chinooka and slide into Christmas with your holiday gift set. So again, CoachellaValleyCoffee.com. Discount code is MARKT at checkout.
Put that coffee down.
Happy Friday, everyone, and SS to all, says Brian Reich. What is SS? What is SS, Kim?
Season salutations? Is it a Hanukkah greeting?
I don't know. Tonight he does say happy Chinooka. Tonight we light 6 candles. We had great latkes last night. Latkes are so good. Oh my God. Yeah. Yummy. Brian Reich. Well, thank you for setting us straight. Tonight, 6 candles. How many candles in the Chinooka tradition, Kim? Do you know?
Oh, is it 12?
I'm sorry, I can't award points. Albert, you're up now. How many? Not 12. How many candles will be lit for the nights in Hanukkah? How many nights in Hanukkah?
No, total.
No, I'm asking you, how many nights do they celebrate Chinooka? Kim guessed 12. What do you guess?
6.
There was an Adam Sandler song about it. I'm going to go back to Kim now. Kim, not 12 and not 6. Do you want to?
14? Is it 14?
14 is not right. Albert, I'm going back to you for Chinooka. How many nights? There was an Adam Sandler. Don't cheat. Don't cheat. I saw that. I totally saw that.
Albert, thank you.
How dare you, Albert, try to cheat?
Chat's already up, and it looks like they're getting a lot wrong with us.
Would you like to apologize for what you've done?
I'm asking you how many the Adam Sandler song recorded, and now you're all cheating. It's ridiculous. All right, you're all looking down. 8 is the answer we wanted, and I am embarrassed. 8 nights, a total of 9 candles, says Brian Reich.
I'm sorry, I got it wrong.
Would you like to apologize for what you've done?
Would you like to apologize for what you've done?
I don't know.
Yeah.
My words affect so many people.
My basic knowledge of religion and religious theory should have been.
And I wanted to apologize to the Asian community, the Asian American community,
the Asian Jewish community is from
Happy Hanukkah, happy 8 days.
In the 12 days of Christmas, that's coming up. You're familiar with Christmas. How many gold rings are there, Albert?
Oh, man. There's 5.
5.
There's 5.
I'd just like to note
anything beyond 5, I have no clue.
How many Lords a Leaping are there in the 12 days of Christmas? Kim, I ask you, how many Lords a Leaping?
7 Lords a Leaping.
There's 7 Lords a Leaping? I don't know. I just actually...
and I believe 8 Maids a Milking as well.
Okay. How
9
many
ladies
calling?
dancing.
How many calling birds are there? How many calling birds are there in the 12 days of Christmas, which follows Chinooka by a couple of days this year? How many calling birds, Albert? Do you know?
4.
4 calling birds. Ah, very impressive.
Yeah.
When we get to the
Very
higher
impressive.
numbers, I start. Only when I listen to the song I remember. I don't remember.
SS is Shabbat Shalom, says Brian Wright. Thank you.
Okay.
Great
That
knowledge.
is Hebrew for have a peaceful Sabbath. Well, I am.
What did I say? Season salutations.
We've had a great. We have had a fun run through Chinooka, aided by Smokey. Send me the. So, actually, Chinooka will be over by Monday. Then, right?
Yeah.
If this is the 6th night, and there are only 8, Saturday would be the 7th, and Sunday would be the 8th. The how many pipers piping? Asks Beware.
I believe there's 11. My mom
Where
has
are
a
my
set
weed
of
smokers at?
my mom has a set of dessert plates, and whichever plate you get is your number. And then after we have dessert, we have to go around and sing the song.
Oh, that's
I
kind
know.
of cool. That's sort
The
of
whole
fun. So
family
you have some
hates it.
holiday traditions.
The
Yeah.
whole family hates it. Yet we still have to do it every damn year.
The image is hideous.
All right, we got a lot to get to, so I will. I'll get to it. Yeah.
The Mark Thompson Show.
The world that we know is changing by the hour. I will tell you that if you're a service member and you had applied for the supplement that is associated with housing for service members, you may be interested to know that the Warrior dividend, the $1,776 Warrior dividend that was announced by Donald Trump the other night as the president took to the airwaves to bump my Survivor finale by 20 minutes. The $1,776 payment that is to go to the troops.
Why are you yelling?
Is going to come out of the funds already allocated for this housing supplement that is to go to military families. So what was said during the presidential address was that it was going to come from tariff money. That's not true. I mean, it's shocking. Probably the only thing that was not true that the president said. Generally, he's a truth teller, not like him to be a BS artist, not like him to say a lot of stuff that isn't moored in any kind of fact. But in this case, he said because of tariffs, we are sending every soldier $1,776, and the checks are already on the way. Yeah, that's right. They just left the loading dock. I'm looking at them right now.
Wait, so
nobody deserves it more than our military, he said. What's that, Kim?
They're not getting anything extra then?
We made a lot more money than anybody thought because of tariffs, he said, and the bill helped us along. He's talking about that big, beautiful bill, as it was called. In reality, the payments are going to be funded by repurposing military housing assistance. That was approved by Congress as part of that big, beautiful bill act, but it wasn't, again, approved as a dispersal for all military members. It was approved as a supplement for those in the military who needed housing assistance. So this Warrior dividend is something that will be jackhammered out of that money. And I mentioned it to David Katz yesterday, the brilliant constitutional lawyer and former federal prosecutor, because when I heard that he was issuing these checks, I thought, doesn't he need congressional approval to do that? And the answer, of course, is yes. But the way that they're going to try to get around that is that the money was already allocated. And so in a sense, it's sort of a reallocation of an existing allocation. It's a little of the how they're getting around the repurposing of the Qatari jet. You know, he got this Qatari jet gift. It's going to be close to $1 billion to bring it up to speed. It'll take most of his administration the next few years to bring it up to speed, and then he's going to take it with him with the presidential party gift bag on the way out. And that is money that also was jackhammered out of the existing Pentagon budget. So there's a lot of money being moved around. The legalities are questionable. And the last thing I'll mention just on the tariffs, because he mentioned it the other night, is, as you know, the tariffs may be illegal. I mean, the tariffs are illegal. It's a tax being imposed by the president, and under specious sorts of logic, right, that there's an emergency associated with fentanyl and drugs, and that is the reason that the presidential powers associated with these tariffs exist. But that's going to the Supreme Court. We'll have to see how that works out. But all of this is sort of playing fast and loose with everything in this first year of Donald Trump's presidency. Will Hegseth be getting a check? Asked Mike. Yeah. I'd love to see him get a final check. That would really be great. The other thing that was promised was not promised in the speech the other night, but it was promised when encouraging many to self-deport. The U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement crew promised that people who self-deported would be flown free of charge back to their country of origin, if you will, and given $1,000 in Trump lucky bucks. The U.S. Treasury was going to cut checks for $1,000 apiece. Well, a Honduran immigrant named Germán Pineda said, okay, I'll take that. He's 32 years old, and he was detained. He was in a detention center without a food or a shower, apparently sleeping on a concrete floor. It was all pretty awful. And then he was transferred to another detention center. I mention this all because he'd worked as a delivery driver for 14 years in this country. And ICE turns on him, again, does their number where they just manifest total thuggery as they take these people in. And Pineda said, great, I'm out of here. I'll take the $1,000 and I'll leave. Well, apparently the $1,000 payments sent by wire to some immigrants who left the country voluntarily, but apparently never arrived to Pineda. He tried to collect this $1,000 and he didn't get it. He went to Honduras, right? Isn't that what happened? He went back to Honduras, Kim, I believe. And he says, they deceived me.
They never gave him $1,000. Where is it?
Yeah. So, again, Project Homecoming, which is the Department of Homeland Security's offer, if you'll self-deport, quote, the American people will generously offer illegal aliens $1,000 and a free flight to self-deport. To pay for the flights and, quote, exit bonuses. They've allocated $250 million from the State Department for this, but not a penny went to him, Pineda. Not a penny went to Robin Meneses, who's a migrant from Nicaragua, 54 years old. Not a penny went to a number of other deportees and self-deportees. So when asked about this, you can imagine not a lot of real comments about what's happening. I mean, that's a little sort of the promises made, promises not kept part of the game when it comes to the existing administration.
It's very Trump-esque because doesn't he have a history of not paying the people working for him too?
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that. You're right.
He doesn't pay contractors. He'll tell you one thing, yeah, and then you never get the check.
It's a good point. It's sort of on brand for him. Yeah. That's a really good point. The break in the Brown University shooting and MIT killing, that was an interesting story because it really was, it seems, broken by a Reddit post, that the information around this shooter and who he was and the fact he was MIT, and it was it was around this Reddit post. But here's an update on what they found as the case sort of broke open yesterday. Albert, go ahead.
Police in Providence last night said 48-year-old Claudio Manuel Neves Valente of Portugal was the man who killed 2 students at Brown University Saturday, and say he was a former student there between 2000 and 2001. The search for Neves Valente ended here, 90 minutes from Providence in Salem, New Hampshire, inside this unoccupied storage facility where he had rented a unit. He was found with a self-inflicted gunshot wound.
To me, this was always going to be an investigation where something was going to break it open.
For days, the public and law enforcement had relied on these images of the gunman near the Brown campus Saturday. But a break came on Thursday when investigators say a witness came forward and described his interactions with Neves Valente before the shooting at Brown.
I think it was under an hour. That person came forward, and that person led us to the car, which led us to the name, which led us to the photographs of that individual renting the car, which matched the clothing of our shooter here in Providence.
Then, using a network of security footage, authorities were able to retrace the gunman's trail across New England, leading them to the home of MIT professor Nuno Lauriero.
On December 15th, he murdered MIT professor Nuno Lauriero at Lauriero's home in Brookline, Massachusetts.
Police said the two attended the same academic program in Portugal between 1995 and 2000 and may have known each other. Neves Valente's vehicle led to a multi-state manhunt, ending with hundreds of law enforcement officers swarming the storage facility on the Massachusetts-New Hampshire border. Investigators say the suspect was found with a satchel, 2 firearms, and more evidence pointing to the crime. Now, students from both Brown University and MIT are grieving the loss of lives they say were taken too soon.
I think it's just really tragic and sudden, and especially this week too. It's just like a lot of really senseless violence.
That bubble of safeness was completely popped when we were violated by a shooter entering our campus, and I think it will take time and effort to be able to rebuild any sense of normalcy among students.
And following those revelations, Secretary Kristi Noem said the U.S. will put a pause on the diversity visa lottery program. Valente appears to have entered the country in 2017 through that program. He got a green card. Now, as for investigators, they will continue to dig deeper on a motive.
This is key, the last part, which is this DV1 visa and the suspension of this program. Once again, the fact that there was violence connected to someone who was here with a green card that was permitted essentially under this visa program, it's being used as leverage to once again seal off another way in which there can be legal immigration to this country. The case was broken by this, again, in large measure, this Reddit user. And the Reddit user described a gray Nissan with Florida plates parked by the Rhode Island Historical Society and a man who, the poster said, acted strangely, locking and unlocking the car. And the Reddit poster, named John, at least on Reddit, told the cops that he had first encountered this masked guy in a bathroom near this building on campus the day of the shooting. And apparently, I give the guy credit, he said to him in the bathroom, "Your car is back there. Why are you circling the block?" I guess he didn't say it in the bathroom. I don't know where he made that. But he says, apparently the response was, "I don't know you from nobody. Why are you harassing me?" So again, this John, as he's called on Reddit, described the car, the interaction with this masked man wandering around College Hill before the shooting. And they were led, cops were, all the way to Salem, New Hampshire, to the storage facility where they found the masked shooter dead, self-inflicted wound, right?
Yeah.
It's a bizarre end, and it seemed to have everything folded into, into it. It had the violence that has typified America, gun violence, the inexplicable gun violence. It has the administration taking advantage of this to, as I say, seal off another legal form of immigration. And it has another college campus and another academic institution, in this case, two of them, shaken by what happened. And honestly, in this weird way, over the last couple of weeks, it pales in comparison to the violence that was wrought in Australia as gunmen opened fire, a father and son, on Jewish celebrants on this the first day of Hanukkah. So, but that's the latest on that. I guess that case now is closed. But interestingly enough, as I say, broken by the Reddit poster who actually encountered this suspect in the middle of everything that was going on, and ultimately led cops to find that suspect in that storage locker. So,
The Mark Thompson Show.
Just feels like it's kind of another grim chapter on this week that is full of grimness. But I think maybe and I'll talk to Michael Shure and Mo Kelly about this when they come in hour 2. I think one of the biggest stories that you're going to find here at the end of the year is associated with the continued crackdown on criticism, on dissent, and on those who disagree with this regime in America. If you have a problem with the Trump administration, if you are critical at all of the existing administration, you may end up on what is an enemies list.
Are we going to end up on the list?
Very possibly.
Yeah.
Very possibly. And I really think that this is the increasing threat and specter of government crackdown that has been warned by David K. Johnston, for example. David talked about this. He talked about this in what I thought were sort of exaggerated ways. Remember David K. Johnston actually saying, I think there could be firing squads. Remember him saying that?
Yeah.
And he said, I, David K. Johnston, think I could be one of those actually brought before that firing squad. Well, it's actually something that's being talked about by this administration now. They don't say firing squads, but they talk about executions. This is a brutal reality that we're now seeing spoken of openly by this administration. But this is an expansive effort ahead of even that to root out what they call rampant left-wing domestic violence. So Pam Bondi, the Attorney General, carrying the water for anything that Donald Trump wants, has issued a memo for all federal law enforcement agencies to coordinate delivery of their intelligence files on Antifa, and this is important, Antifa-related activities. Those are to be delivered to the FBI. Bondi has asked the FBI to use those files to draw up lists of Americans and foreigners to investigate as part of a campaign directed by President Donald Trump against what his administration views as a growing threat of political violence by the American left. Here is the quote. Left-wing organizations have fueled violent riots, organized attacks against law enforcement officers, coordinated illegal doxing campaigns, arranged drop points for weapons and riot materials, and more. The Trump administration will get to the bottom of this vast network inciting violence in American communities. I mean, this is a crackdown on political dissent. Even the amplification of what Antifa is to sort of suggest it's this shadowy group that is organized. There's no Antifa organization. It just doesn't exist. You heard that back and forth in Congress, during which administration officials couldn't tell you. If this is the number one security risk domestically, tell me where they're located. Tell me a few of the people who are involved. They couldn't answer any of those questions. Anyway, this is a memorandum And it talks about anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, anti-Christianity, opposition to law and immigration enforcement, radical gender ideology, hostility toward traditional views on family, religion, and morality. These are grounds for investigation. Those things I just mentioned, they specifically are underscored in this memo as meriting investigation. So if you've espoused on your Facebook page, on other social media, anything that could be interpreted as hostility toward traditional views on family, religion, and morality, you may merit investigation from this administration. This is not an exaggeration. The political agendas espoused by the individuals who fall into these categories may merit investigation. The government will, quote, pursue people with a willingness to use violence against law-abiding citizenry to serve those beliefs. They make no mention of violence that was animated by right-wing extremism or viewpoints along those lines. So I'll talk to Michael Shure and Mo Kelly about this, but I think this represents yet another very important inflection moment in this rapid evolution of autocracy and the snuffing out of any criticism that has really typified this administration from the very start.
Is it the end of free speech in America?
I mean, it's part of the suppression of free speech, and I'd suggest that started a while back. Talk to Jimmy Kimmel about that. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Kimmel didn't even do anything wrong. Jimmy Kimmel didn't say anything disparaging about Charlie Kirk. Just the opposite. He talked about how his heart broke for Charlie Kirk's family and how it was unacceptable. Same thing with Rob Reiner. Rob Reiner didn't say anything about Charlie Kirk. So it depends where you want to go, but wherever you want to go, you won't find from any high-profile leftist figure the kind of seditious or a call to violence sort of speech or posts that would warrant any kind of government inspection. But I mean, you just want to talk about suppression of free speech. Look at how they've gone after 60 Minutes and CBS, and they shook that entire thing loose. ABC and Disney. Paramount got the cancellation of Stephen Colbert. They want the cancellation of Seth Meyers' show. They want all of these late-night comedians silenced. I mean, again, that may just seem as though it's a small thing. It's not. I mean, it's what Kim is saying. It's free speech in America. It's a cornerstone of this country's founding and of an animating principle of this country. Define leftist, says Agolf Twitler. Yeah, seems like it just means anyone who isn't MAGA these days. Right, and that's exactly the point. It's like the old thing about pornography. I'll know it when I see it. And so it's, I think, a significant moment, as I say.
I agree with you. The speed with which this is happening is, head turning.
A sweeping crackdown on leftist networks, so they say. And again, I will talk to Mo and Michael about this and what it may mean. So in the meantime, there's other stuff going on in the Eastern Pacific, and you might imagine
The Mark Thompson Show.
It involves the U.S. military. 5 more, quote, narco-terrorists are killed in the Eastern Pacific. Now we're over 100 deaths in these boat bombings. 2 alleged drug trafficking boats in the Eastern Pacific on Thursday. That was yesterday as we join you live on this Friday. Killing 5 narco-terrorists. The total number of people killed in the Pentagon's ongoing campaign is over 100. 3 people were killed on the first boat, 2 people in the second vessel. This is announced on the social platform X. And of course, they include a 30-second video showing both attacks. I consider that essentially a snuff film. But when you want us to accept your spoon-fed snuff films, we can't ask for you to release a second video to show the second, third, and even fourth strike on that boat and the boat attack, during which 2 people survived and there was debris in the ocean. You take out the 2 people, you take out the debris, 4 strikes in total, but only 1 video. Again, it's the typical video where one big blast blows the boat out of the water. That's the only video we see. The boats were transiting along, quote, known narco-trafficking routes in the Eastern Pacific Ocean and were, quote, engaged in narco-trafficking operations. No U.S. service members injured in the operations. As I mentioned to you, and as we've made clear in conversations with David K. Johnston, with on the legal side with David Katz, there could be real repercussions, legal repercussions for Pete Hegseth and for others who are involved in these extrajudicial killings. I mean, these really could lead to murder charges. Meantime, Trump is not ruling out war with Venezuela. In a phone interview with NBC News, Trump is talking about war and the possibility of war. I don't rule it out. No, he told NBC News. He ordered that blockade of sanctioned oil tankers coming and going from Venezuela, and again, looking to increase pressure on Maduro. They seized that oil tanker near Venezuela, and there have been 28 of these boat strikes that have killed more than 100 people, as I say, including that double tap strike. In his phone interview, Trump said, quote, I don't discuss it. When he was asked about a war with Venezuela. But when he was pressed, he confirmed it was a possibility and said that there will be additional seizures of oil tankers. As for a timeline, he said it depends. If they're foolish enough to be sailing along, they'll be sailing along back into one of our harbors. Speaking of seizures, I have a different kind of seizure to ask you about when it comes to Donald Trump.
The Mark Thompson Show.
You know, it's now being suggested quite openly that there may be some issues with Donald Trump's mental acuity. I think you can see slippage. You can see him falling asleep in meetings that I frankly feel is sort of, run-of-the-mill for someone who's an older person. I mean, some older people, 79, 80 in that area, and they fall asleep a little bit more frequently. They might even fall asleep in a meeting. Some of them not. There are many people who are, quite vital at that age. But I think more to the point, he seems to drift. He seems to also be kind of losing it a bit. And the question is he, in addition to losing maybe some mental acuity, is he being treated for some kind of issue to stave off, for example, an encroaching threat of Alzheimer's or dementia, using medications that might actually produce the sort of physical effects that we have seen? So here's what I mean specifically. In published reports, increasingly, we are seeing references to his bandage on his right hand, the bruising on the same hand. And you can see there, we're showing it to you, what is sort of a regular feature of his daily display on his right hand. It's a bandage that he keeps there. And so now let's get to what that bandage might cover. Albert, you have the piece there. It's I'll read it right off of the screen.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. She was asked. Sorry, Caroline Levitt was asked about this point blank. We'll first play you her response, and then we'll give you sort of the speculation around this and how it does conform to anti-dementia drugs. Go ahead.
Been spotted out and about a number of times with bandages on his hands. Could you please explain what that is about? Secondly, he noted on Truth Social the other day that he had aced 3 cognitive tests. Could you please clarify when those tests took place?
I can do that at a later date. I obviously don't have that in front of me. The president has spoken about that quite extensively throughout the years. As for the bandages on the hand, we've also given you an explanation for that in the past. The president is literally constantly shaking hands. The Oval Office is like Grand Central Terminal. He is meeting with more people than any of you even know about on a daily basis. He's also on a daily aspirin regimen, which is something his physical examinations has said in the past as well, which can contribute to that bruising that you see here.
But his doctor does say he's in better shape than when Obama was in office, says Randy. Yeah. So what about this? First of all, when she says we've already given you an explanation for this, I'm thinking, yeah, you gave us the explanation that he shakes hands with a lot of people. You really believe that, Steph Curry shakes hands with a lot of people, but there are no bruises on his hands, Here is what Leqembi, the Alzheimer's drug, will do to you. It's administered through an infusion, for example, through the hand. It can cause swelling, bleeding, or fluid leakage in the brain, requiring regular MRIs. It also can cause tiredness. This is something that once again corresponds with what we're seeing from Donald Trump. We hear of these MRIs, these regular MRIs as part of his regular physical regimen. That is to say, physical examinations, but that doesn't make any sense. An MRI is not a routine thing in a physical examination. In addition, we hear the BS story about how he got the bruise, and we see evidence that he's falling asleep a lot. Again, I can either ascribe that to a medication or I can ascribe it just to his age. Common side effect from frequent IVs and blood thinners in older people, says Vinny Pedro. Yeah. So, again, for a group of people who made such a big deal about the demented quality of Joe Biden's administration, how his mental acuity was so diminished, and how his administration was hobbled by this problem with his clarity and connection to reality. They made such political hay of this. I mean, it was convincing. And in the Tapper book and elsewhere, they even talk about the cover-up. It would seem as though there's something of an active cover-up going on here. They've certainly been less than forthcoming. And I would just say that this is particularly relevant given the fact that this is the most powerful guy in the world. And he is governing America like a guy who's got dementia. I mean, sorry, but he, gets up in the middle of the night and begins these screeds, 150 different posts. One of these beloved Hollywood directors and personalities in Rob Reiner is brutally slain. And all this guy can do is come up with this vile, grotesque take on Rob Reiner. I mean, again, I don't mean to put all of this at the foot of dementia. I think he's kind of a vile, grotesque guy, but he's also capable of charm. None of that is in evidence. And I guess what I'm trying to say is this intense steering from one thing to the next, it does speak to the fact that he is losing it. I mean, even the way in which he demands that his name go on all of these government buildings and that these monuments be built to him while he's still alive, it's insane. It's not even couched in any kind of rational, logical argument for why it's possible. It's just, put my name on it. And the latest is the Trump Kennedy Center. And there it is on the government website. It's the Trump Kennedy Center. The Kennedy Center was named for John F. Kennedy, who was assassinated while president. He gave his life while in service to this country. the Kennedy Center is named for someone who died in service to the country. The other monuments in Washington are similarly named for those who have passed away. The Jefferson Memorial, the Washington Monument. These are things that are associated with those who have passed. The idea that your president, and 11 months into your presidency, you want to rename everything in Washington after yourself or throw your name up front so it's the Trump Kennedy Center, it's absurd, it's laughably ridiculous, and it's illegal. I mean, you can't just go around renaming stuff in Washington. You need to get congressional approval for these things. Do you think that they could just slap John Foster Dulles' name on Dulles Airport there? Well, no, they got it. There was a vote on that. If you're using federal funds, you need federal approval. Now, in the Trump administration, and this is what we talk about, this may seem like a small point to you, but I think it does reflect a general attitude, which is, no, I want this, I'm president, and I don't want to get approval from anyone. It's what I was talking about with Liz Oyer about the pardons. The reason Donald Trump loves the pardon so much is because he doesn't have to get any approval from anyone. He has utter pardon power. And so he can pardon the biggest narco trafficker in modern history, Hernandez from Honduras. He can pardon P. Diddy if he wants to. He can pardon all these white-collar criminals who've defrauded investors of billions of dollars. He can he can pardon those who are accused of child trafficking, of sexual assault. He can pardon all of them without any kind of check on that pardon power. He loves that. And similarly, he loves this. Look at what the Kennedy Center, is this the actual picture of them putting the, is this
Yeah,
real?
These are the guys who changed the name. They did it really fast. It was really important to him. So they got up there on their bucket and they changed the name, added his name above.
So it's the Donald J. Trump and John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts.
Yeah, had to have his name first, too.
I mean, this gets to, the cop on the beat. If no one is ready to call this out and the controlling party in Washington is there and won't call it out, then what happens? The answer is nothing. And that's really been the way it's gone in Washington for the last year. You can take it to what you may consider, and I think they might consider, politicians in Washington, a small issue, which is the renaming of the Kennedy Center. Now, you may consider it, and I think you'd reasonably consider it, kind of a big deal for the reasons that I mentioned. It sort of reflects a guy who doesn't feel in any way bound by the law. He's president of the United States, and he's completely untethered by any kind of regulatory structure, be it customary or legal. So when we say, well, it's customary to get approval on such and such, forget about that. We say it's legally required that you get approval before you rename federal buildings. It's legally required that you get approval before you demolish the East Wing of the White House. But if no one is ready to actually battle the president, and they wouldn't be because it's not a political winner for them, then he gets away with it. So, as Randy says, this is disgraceful. The picture is disgraceful. It's a slap in the face of all Americans. True. But there's no political will to restrain this president because the political arithmetic doesn't favor doing it. Now, if I'm the Democrats, I make a lot of noise about this, and I tie it to corruption. I would always tie everything to corruption if I'm the Democrats. I would talk about the fact that this is what you're seeing on the outside, And what you're also seeing on the inside is an administration that doesn't feel bound by any kind of regulatory structure or legal structure whatsoever. They are about self-enrichment. They're about screw the emoluments clause. You can do everything from the Qatari jet to the way in which the Trump family has benefited with billions of dollars in cryptocurrency. They've set up that World Financial, Liberty Financial. Those are the Trump brothers along with the Witkoffs. The Witkoff brothers and the Witkoff son and the Trump son, they run that Liberty Financial, and they're benefiting, billions of dollars on that platform. The meme coins. These are all ways in which this president and his people have enriched themselves immensely. The bailout of Argentina. Do we need to, the problem is stuff is happening so fast you can forget. We bail out Argentina? Why? Because Scott Bessent has connections to investors who have huge plays in Argentina, and they need Argentina propped up. And so we, out of nowhere, we FedEx $40 billion to Argentina. This is the corruption that is endemic to this crew. So I would use every moment, like the Kennedy Center is a loud moment, the renaming of the Kennedy Center. So I'd use that as a pivot to point out all the corruption. Going after dissent, suing the BBC, he's suing the BBC for $10 billion. Isn't that the number, Kim?
It is the number. Mm-hmm.
$10 billion. Do you know what the operating budget of the British broadcasting company BBC is? Give me the operating number. He's suing for $10 billion. How much is the budget for the BBC? Does anybody know? I'll tell you. The budget for the BBC that's being sued by Donald Trump for $10 billion for editing his speech on January 6th to suggest that it was more of a call to violence. The operating budget is $5 billion. So he's suing them for twice their operating budget. And when we talk about a guy who is dealing with dementia, we talk about a guy who's dealing with a kind of losing of a grip on reality, I look at stuff like that. So I think all of these are of a kind. So, you have JFK. This is JFK. Who is this, Albert, who was talking about the Kennedy Center? Do you know?
Joe Kennedy III, I believe.
Okay. This is, so when a Kennedy relative weighs in on what's going on at the Kennedy Center, it's worth a look. Here is Joe Kennedy reacting to the renaming of the Kennedy Center, the Trump Kennedy Center.
To rename the Kennedy Center, it's the same way that you could try to rename the Lincoln Memorial, right? People can say it doesn't mean that actually happened. And the name is protected by federal law and federal statute, and that obviously hasn't changed. So he can call an apple a banana, he can say down is up, or they can say it, whatever that is. That doesn't make it the case. It's tragic that in the challenges that we're confronting, an affordability crisis where energy rates are high, groceries are high, housing is high, what apparently seems to maintain the president's attention is putting his name on a building and not advocating, protecting, and fighting the people that animate it. This is a building that is a living memorial to a fallen president, right? This is not just another building. It's not a skyscraper in New York City. It's not something whose name is up for auction. It is a living legacy to a man who gave his life for our country. And one would hope that any American, let alone a president, would understand that the fact that President Trump likes to attend the Kennedy Center and is engaged by the arts and likes to celebrate the arts, that's a good thing. There's no, every other president has attended the center and is welcome there, and as he should be. That's not the issue here. No other president has tried to put their name on it. And I wonder if the Lincoln Memorial is next. There's no.
This is I love that statement. He's a congressman from Massachusetts, Joe Kennedy. And by the way, I love that somebody wrote in the chat, oh, a sane Kennedy speaking, as obviously a slam on RFK Jr. But isn't it interesting that RFK Jr., you'd never hear him utter a peep against Donald Trump and this move? Now, he may do the political calculus because I think he is a brutally ruthless politician and self-serving figure who realized the best way to make an impact, maybe even self-enrich, is to join the constellation of people around Donald Trump. But RFK Jr. wouldn't dare say anything. He understands that fealty to Trump is the most important thing. So you have to look to another Kennedy if you're wanting someone in the Kennedy group to say something. But it really is obscene, isn't it? Again, is it the most obscene thing going on? No, I'd suggest the suppression of civil rights, the going after Americans for their speech, for criticism of this government. These are all things that far surpass in grossness what's going on. But the declaration of hostilities with Venezuela, the blowing up of these boats off the coast, the dropping of National Guard troops into American cities, the thuggery of these ICE agents, this is all stuff that I think is pretty loathsome and surpasses this renaming of the Kennedy Center, which, as I say, is and I think noted there, something that he needs congressional approval to do. But again, apparently all you need is a truck and some signage, and you can just slap your name on whatever you want.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah.
So again, I would use it as a pivot if I were the Democrats or any critical mind. I mean, there's certainly those who are Republicans, the old school Republicans who also are appalled by a lot of what's going on. I would use this kind of thing and pivot to make your points about corruption and about an administration that seems completely untethered by law.
Whether or not it's illegal for him to change the name, who's going to stop him? Like, where's the repercussions? Where's the consequences? He's already got immunity for anything he does, while connected to the presidency. So I guess he doesn't really need congressional approval if he could just do whatever he wants without any consequence.
Well, I've kind of been saying that. That's exactly what I'm referencing. And I guess what I'm also referencing is that in Washington, everyone's doing the political arithmetic. Mm-hmm. What is the political arithmetic of criticizing Donald Trump? There's a lot to the downside. So you want to go, it's the old line, you want to die on that hill?
Yeah.
Is the hill of renaming the Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts, that's the hill you want to die on? The answer is almost to a person, no. So because your constituencies ultimately don't care about that. Right. So you'd rather die on the hill, if you're going to die, you'd rather die on the hill of health care, you'd rather die on the, of pocketbook issues.
Sure.
So, but that's, I think, and the reason I like it as a pivot is it's noisy. Renaming the Kennedy Center is a noisy thing. Again, it may not be the thing that everybody wants to go to battle over, but it's the shiny object in the news cycle. So if I were a critical voice on Trump with any kind of profile, I would use it to make a point about the administration and the lawlessness and un-Americanism of this administration. So that's my thought of how it can be used anyway. So
The Mark Thompson Show.
I will, what is this? If only renaming things would take up all his time, says Mobius. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I have to ask you to take a moment to smash that like button.
Smash it
I have not
with your
asked
iron
you.
rod.
It is something it costs you nothing. And subscribe to the show if you would, if you haven't already. Subscribe to the show. Hit the notification bell. You'll know whenever we drop a new video. We have a couple of special interviews this weekend. You'll know about them if you hit the notification bell. And as I always tell you and remind you, if you do subscribe to the show and hit the notification bell, the key combination, you will bring happiness upon yourself and all you love. That's right. Democrats must learn how to message, says Richard Delamater. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Republicans are helped by a propaganda machine that's pretty cranked up, the Fox News Channel. The Epstein files are supposed to be released today, and CC Ryder says, of course, the SOBs. I don't know what SOB stands for, Kim. What is SOB?
I believe that would be son of a bitch, Mark.
Oh. They're not releasing all the Epstein files. We all called it. How is Dan Bongino going to defend this when he returns to his podcast? Well, he is still in government right now. I think he leaves government on the 7th of January or something. I forget what it is. I don't know what the schedule is. But you're right. I mean, we said it. We said it on this show. You're just not, it doesn't matter what the deadline is, and it doesn't matter what the legal imperative is. You're not going to see the Epstein files in any way that will be disparaging to the sitting president. On the suppression of critical voices, by the end of 2026, there will be no dissent allowed, says Rob Law. Scary. Caroline Levitt, Teacher Lori says, congratulated JFK on the renaming of the Kennedy Center. What? An official White House announcement. This is what I'm just reading this, Richard. What a group of clowns. Caroline Levitt congratulated. I don't know. You'll have to find me something on that. I don't know. Trump is like Biff in Back to the Future, says Wes is Warm with a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Casinos, buildings, his name's on everything. Casino was named Biff Tannen's Pleasure Palace. Is that right? That's great. Great knowledge on Back to the Future. I didn't remember that. Vivian Alshawa, an OG of this show.
Big shout out.
Big shout out. And thank you for the super sticker for $10. We're a crowd-funded show. So if you're in the crowd and you're funding us, we love you. Thank you for joining our show as a Patreon or PayPal member. We run all your names at the end of every episode because, honestly, we would not be here without you. So thank you. Harry Magnan says, F Trump. Wow. These are strong words. I mean,
that was very inappropriate.
I'm just saying it leaves me little wiggle room. I'll put it that way, you know. And Congress has to vote, says Shelley Wade, to approve any changes in the naming of the Kennedy Center, not his hand-picked board. The last thing I will, and then I want to bring on Mo Kelly, the thing about the renaming, of course you're right, is that it was accompanied by a statement saying that the John F. Kennedy Center board unanimously voted to rename the John F. Kennedy Center the Donald J. Trump John F. Kennedy Center. Well, of course, it's a hand-picked board by Donald Trump, so they'll rename it whatever you want. But apparently, there was one, at least, dissenting opinion, but she was muted on the call. I sent that to you, right, Albert? Her, do you have it? No? The vote went down and her mic was literally muted. And so they said it's a unanimous decision. I love that they say it was so important to them. I mean, obviously they could outvote her, right? She's just one person on the board and all the rest of them can outvote her. But it was important that they could announce that it was unanimous and bipartisan. And so for that reason, they muted her. It's extraordinary. We'll get the video before the end of the show. Anyway, all right, we told you to smash the like button.
With your iron rod.
Read some super stickers. We read some super chats. I think it's time to bring on Mo Kelly. So
The Mark Thompson Show.
This is Mark Thompson.
This guy's amazing. He is, by the way, in addition to a great mind and great takes on so much, Mo Kelly did such great work filling in on this show. I think, I'll be honest with you, and as I always am, and before I bring him on. If I bring him on and I say this, it sounds like I'm kind of like just, kissing his A, which I don't want to, seem like I am doing.
They are kissing my ass.
When he talks to Michael Snyder, the culture blaster who's coming in, I'm really struck by the fact that Mo is much better with that segment than I am. I swear, I thought, I watched it a couple times. I mean, Mo Kelly really knows cinema. He knows that world of Marvel. So in addition, he's like one of these guys, like in addition to politics, in addition to all this stuff that he knows so well, he's just so good on that stuff. So even as I talk to Michael Snyder, the culture blaster, when he comes in, I just think to myself, God, Mo is just better on that stuff. All right, but anyway, he is a brilliant mind on politics. He's a wonderful addition to our show. How about it for the great Mo Kelly?
Hi, Mark. How you doing
Hello.
today?
Nice to see you, sir. And this guy's forgotten more about politics than most of us will ever know. He is the wonderful Michael Shure. And thank you both for being here. Yeah, the story of the day, I'll quickly just check off on the Epstein information. It looks as though, despite deadlines, despite being compelled to release this information, looks like apparently we're hearing they can't quite make the deadline. It's just not ready. Not really a surprise, I suppose, huh, Mo?
Not a surprise. And if anything, it gives you a sense of the reality that there is something at least embarrassing, damning, maybe not incriminating, but something they definitely don't want you to see. And they want to be able to give it out in measured doses, if you will. And it's going to be a thousands and thousands of documents that we do get, which may not lead to much of anything. We'll probably have to cross-reference with the actual Epstein estate. But if we can be patient, we'll probably be able to find something which is very tangible and I would say essential to getting a fuller picture of what was going on between Jeffrey Epstein and also Donald Trump. But I would caution people not to get their hopes up too high, because I don't know if there's going to be that proverbial silver bullet or smoking gun, which is going to connect all the dots for us.
Yeah, it does seem as though that might be a bit of a reach. We already know a lot based on these tranches of photos and of information coming out of the estate. I don't know how politically damaging it even will be. I guess Trump feels it'll be embarrassing enough that he's, put on the full court press to excise his name or redact it in some way, Michael. But I don't know at the end of all of this, as the dust settles, that it's really going to move the meter much. What do you think?
I mean, it's hard to tell because we don't know what's in there. I'm actually in a minority of people who's surprised that they didn't release it today. It's the Friday before Christmas. Mike Johnson took the House out a day early yesterday. Everyone who would be there to respond, this is a real dead news cycle that we're going into right now, and this is the beginning of it. So I thought this was the perfect time. I think the drip, drip, drip that Mo talked about is something they don't want. I think the longer this lingers, and if there's no there, it's better off dying now for them. I don't think it's going to die because I think so much of his base is interested in this. And so to that end, Mark, to answer your question, I think that they're probably going to see some effect on this because it's going to put Republicans on the campaign trail in 2026 in the position of having to defend him or not defend him. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. There's some circles where criticizing Donald Trump is sin number one, but there are others, in that MAGA community for whom this was the straw. This was what would have changed their support had they known any kind of closeness between Trump and Epstein. I suspect there's more than we know already, but maybe not as much as many fantasize about.
Just as a practical matter, I'm surprised that the DOJ says it's going to take weeks. I mean, from all we were hearing is almost from hour one, they had FBI agents and other DOJ people scouring these files and all this information for anything incriminating to Trump or anything where Trump was mentioned. I mean, these were in published reports over and over, seemingly the way that they were handling it. So I'm very surprised that, again, I don't know why they're suppressing it, and I don't think we'll really know, but the idea somehow that they need more time to package it, that strikes me as a reach, given the fact that they've been working on this for months and months.
You're saying that they lied?
So let me ask you about the president's 18-minute dance through what was utter fiction as I saw it. I mean, everything from, I'm taking pharmaceutical prices down 600%. This place was a mess and a hellscape when I got here, and now I'm finally making it great. I wonder if I can get some general thoughts on the president's comments and on that speech generally, and how you felt that it landed. It was full of some shouting. Again, he mentioned Joe Biden a lot. It was kind of, in a way, like one of his weaker stump speeches, Michael?
Yeah, and he's making that stump speech full of fallacies again, and he's not stumping for anything, right? This was what you heard at a rally in South Dakota in 2023. This isn't what you want to hear from the president. First of all, I don't think it fell because I don't think many people paid close attention to it because of just that. And I also think it was purposeless. It surprised me that Susie Wiles thought this was a good idea, or maybe she thought it was a good idea, but that's not the speech that she wanted to give. There was an opportunity for the president to actually sit in front of the American people, stand in front of the American people with all that greenery around him and say, hey, listen, I know going into the holidays that you're waiting for prices to come down, and it's hard to buy the present you may have wanted, et cetera, et cetera. But stay the course. We've got this thing. This is going in the direction we want it to go. I mean, at least to put false confidence rather than false facts out there is something that would have behooved the president to do at that point. Now, again, I don't know the purpose of this address. I don't know what it was meant to accomplish, because if it was to stave the bleeding, it didn't do that. It was an angry president making up lies and blaming other people, which is an act we've seen before. Usually they would come out and talk about Venezuela. They would talk about, a moment in time. But that's not what the president's doing here. And so I don't think it fell hard, because I think that the people who were paying attention to it were few. And the people that they trotted out afterwards with talking points like Newt Gingrich and Lindsey Graham, nobody's really paying attention to what they think about what this president said.
It's funny, Mo, that Michael mentions Venezuela, because I fully expected that Trump was coming on television to tell us we were going to get into some kind of armed confrontation with Venezuela. What was your take on the thing?
We keep making the mistake, and I think collectively keep making the mistake of assessing Trump with this yardstick of what happened before. If you thought that you're going to get President Carter's malaise speech or something like that, acknowledging the reality of the economy in which we live and what we need to do to get through it or push through it, we're fooling ourselves. This is about the ego of one particular person who has not only lost his grapple with reality, but is also dealing with his mortality. And let me put it this way. If you look at the totality of his behavior, inclusive of the speech, inclusive of the renaming of the Kennedy Center, inclusive of the desire to rename Dulles Airport, to Trump Airport, you see a guy who is aware of his mortality and is obsessed with the idea of being able to see his legacy in place before he dies. And so when I see these unhinged events like this speech, I see a guy who is scared, who is genuinely afraid of what the next couple of months are going to bring, and he does not know how to deal with it, and the people around him can no longer control him, or at least direct him in a way which would protect him. In politics, there was always this, and also in entertainment, there was this axiom where you always protect the host, protect the candidate, protect the elected official. And clearly, the people around him are either unable, unwilling, or just pushing him in directions which are hurting him and his legacy.
It's such sorry to interrupt, but I was just going to say, it's such a good point just on this. Let me make this point in 15 seconds. And that is, when they put in the teleprompter, they curate these remarks that, I've taken down drug prices 600%, just as an example. Somebody had to write that into the prompter. It went past some editor. That speaks to what Mo's talking about, which is nobody wants to speak up against the Mad King. Michael?
Well, that's true, and I think we learned in this Vanity Fair series, if anybody read about it, this article that there are people, Wiles herself, saying that I try to stop him, but then at a certain point he wins every tie. So we know what this guy's about. I will say though, going off of what Mo said, that this is a politically I think the political tactics from a lot of people around Trump are good. At least they're effective. I shouldn't say good, but they're effective. And that's what struck me about this. That this was so tactically deaf that there was, if Trump is concerned about legacy, as Mo said, which he is, if he's concerned about power, which we know he is, he needs to keep the House and he needs to keep the Senate in 2026. And this did nothing toward that. And not that we're going to, I don't think collectively, I think we go to the Malaise speech that Mo mentioned that Carter made. We go perhaps to a fireside chat. We may talk about the Checkers speech, right? I mean, the presidential addresses to the nation are not generally remembered, right? So this won't be remembered, but he had a chance at least to kind of land with something here. And in a way, it could have been like the King's Christmas message in England, that he could have said something here tactically, even if it took him forever to get to that space, to advance his his legacy in a small way right now to people who are paying attention, who are going to vote next November. So that's what surprised me about this. I don't have expectations of him at all, but I do have some expectations of the people that are playing the political game around him.
It was suggested here, Robert wrote me an email and wanted me to ask you guys about
I've received a lot of positive letters.
He says, this reminded me of 1984's Newspeak, used for mind control, where you just tell the public something over and over again. He said maybe the political boys could give us some clarity on this.
The political guys read Orwell. Is that what we expect? Okay, fine. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you, Mo.
Well, let me just say that I would say the president has been a victim of his own success, whereas his political instincts, I think, were much better in the first term. They're non-existent in this term, and there's no one seemingly that Donald Trump is listening to at this point. And given his addled mind and his other issues cognitively, I'm saying it out loud, this is a runaway car, which is out of control. I don't know where it goes from here. I just know as someone who usually would get upset at everything that Donald Trump would do is no longer upset, because I see the desperation in what he's trying to do and trying to hold on to power. In his mind, he's the only one. Like he says, I alone can do it. He believes he is the only one who can save his own administration and by extension, the Republican Party. We know that superpower no longer exists in large part, but he still carries a fair amount of support who will believe everything he says and hang on to every word he utters, unfortunately.
Yeah, no one wants to take away the keys to the car from the guy who's clearly unable to drive it. There was something of a high-profile endorsement of J.D. Vance from Erica Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk, who was the founder of Turning Point USA, powerful group. And she told thousands of activists at this Phoenix Convention Center, we're going to get my husband's friend, J.D. Vance, elected in 2028. I wonder if you can speak. To me, J.D. Vance lacks a lot of the charisma and political dynamic that Trump has. He has name recognition now, but does the endorsement from Charlie Kirk's widow help him enough to make him relevant, as you see it, Michael Shure?
Well, I think that one of the the real victims, aside from the real victim, Charlie Kirk, of that brutal assassination, were the presidential hopes of J.D. Vance. He tied his tail to Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk similarly did it in reverse. J.D. Vance would not have been on the ticket were it not for Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was able to convince Donald Jr. and Eric Trump that they need to tell their dad that this is the guy. Charlie Kirk brought with him a ton of followers, a great deal of support. Whatever you thought of him, there were a lot of people that followed his show, his speak, and his advice and suggestion and endorsement. He brought a lot of people to the polls. There's no question about it. So in that way, he was extremely powerful. The fact that he's gone was a boon to the campaigns of other people who were going to run against J.D. Vance, because what it did was it allowed them to take parts of that disparate faction that all adhered to Charlie Kirk since he was gone and go for them themselves. Now Erica Kirk coming out and saying, I don't think it's desperate, but I certainly don't think it has the same resonance as it would have had it been Charlie, saying that J.D. Vance is my guy. That does have a lot of people who followed him say, okay, turning points, we're behind J.D. Vance. But you don't have the same allegiance. And I think this is like a microcosm of Trump when he goes out and Republicans run without Trump on the ticket, or when he's not there. MAGA doesn't have the same allegiance to one person because somebody says that they're MAGA. So I think it's a fascinating, I think it's a headline political story and something to follow to see what happens to these group of people. And Erica Kirk nominating him so early before J.D. Vance is even running for president, what that will mean. I think he's going to be challenged big time. I don't think he'll be the nominee, but again, it's too early.
Mo?
I thought it strange that, given that this is supposedly, and I can't tell people how to mourn, but I think this is still the period of mourning, that politics was so high up on her priority list. And she's not a kingmaker. And I don't believe that J.D. Vance has the charisma, the cult of personality to continue to carry the baton of MAGA. And we look at someone like Marjorie Taylor Greene, who made this distinction between America First and MAGA. That's fine and all well good, but MAGA is clearly and considerably leaning towards only Donald Trump. And I think without the endorsement of Donald Trump, you could think of Mike Pence or anyone else, MAGA is not going to move anywhere, with all due respect to Erica Kirk. I just think her priorities are questionable at this point, and I don't know if she has the gravitas or even the political weight behind her to even make such an edict. And to Michael's point, we're not even in 2026 yet. I don't know what this means other than a news headline.
Yeah.
Right.
But I will say to Mark and Mo that this is huge for J.D. Vance because whatever that means, at least she's trying to keep that group that coalesced around her late husband together for Vance. That's the best that he could hope for here, rather than it just sort of flickering away and Erica Kirk not making an endorsement here. So this is good news for J.D. Vance, but I don't think it scares anybody away.
Well, after Erica Kirk endorsed J.D. Vance, Ben Shapiro came on stage. This is the same event. And this just speaks to MAGA and the coalition. And I like that you guys touched on this because this very much speaks to this. And Ben Shapiro rips into a bunch of conservative commentators, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Steve Bannon. He calls them frauds and grifters. The conservative movement is in serious danger, Ben Shapiro said, from charlatans who claim to speak in the name of principle, but actually traffic in conspiracism and dishonesty. He called Steve Bannon a PR flack for Jeffrey Epstein, and he went on to talk about Candace Owens and the Nick Fuentes interview that she did. Fuentes is a Holocaust denier, and he's an anti-Semite without question, and went after Carlson in the same way for the Fuentes stuff. So it's interesting to see the conservative movement, the young conservative movement, and sort of the MAGA adjacent movement begin to kind of fall apart, or at least have the sort of infighting that I might associate, frankly, with the Democrats under normal circumstances. Mo?
It was fascinating to me, not all that surprising. I'm surprised it took so long to get to this point. Ben Shapiro is an enigma in many ways for me. I don't know exactly what his end game is, other than broadening his swath of appeal. Megyn Kelly and the Steve Bannons and Dan Bongino, when he goes back to the podcast world, seems like there's going to be this battle royale as far as who's going to be the loudest voice in the evolving MAGA movement. I say evolving because, again, we don't know what's going to happen with Donald Trump in the next 2 months, much less the next 2 years. And so there's this political infighting, and there's also this media space infighting. And it seems like, to the victor go the spoils.
Yeah, it does have a Hunger's Game quality to it. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Michael.
and there's a lot of space for Ben Shapiro to take over now that Charlie Kirk is no longer alive and able to do this. Ben Shapiro is trying to be that guy and that kind of a kingmaker if he can be, and I think this is his opportunity to do it. It'll be interesting to see who Usha Vance endorses.
No, well, by the way, Ben Shapiro, I think a lot of this is wrapped up in Israel. A lot of this is wrapped up in, when you animate and platform a white supremacist like Nick Fuentes, a Holocaust denier, and out-and-out anti-Semite Jew hater, you can expect that you're going to get blowback from Ben Shapiro, but I also think that it reflects on a more subtle level. I mean, Nick Fuentes is an extreme example, but the way in which the support of Israel, which has always been sort of a conservative tenet, has begun to become a more troubled one. Wouldn't you say, Michael?
Yeah, there's no question. And like these associations are not good for the brand. They're good for the brand that had MAGA to rely on, but they're not good for the brand as they go forward. And I think they realize this. I think they're beginning to realize this, that there's going to have to be a post-MAGA, post-Trump. They excused it because of Trump's powerful hold on them, but they're not going to excuse it for very much longer. And there are future candidates out there who are not going to be able to. Yet it's sort of like they want those horrible people voting for them, but they don't want them to be known that they're voting for them.
We're really kind of out of time, but I wanted to not let you guys go without asking you about this memo out of the DOJ, which essentially puts together an enemies list associated with criticism toward this administration. It's cloaked in the kind of violent extremism that's claimed around Antifa, but they literally, Pam Bondi has asked for lists of activists who merit, this is kind of her words from the memo, merit investigation based on their criticism of the administration, criticism of American values, criticism of family and Judeo-Christian ethics. I mean, it's pretty broad and it's pretty scary. So you talk about a sweeping crackdown on, you can call it leftist, but I would just call it dissenting opinion. And that's what you have in America with the DOJ having issued this memo. Mo?
If McCarthy and Richard Nixon were alive today, I'm quite sure they would either have a podcast or be guests on people's podcasts. And I suspect that someone like Richard Nixon would say, damn, I was just a good 50 years too early. If I were just born 50 years later, or he probably would feel vindicated by what he would see in America today. It's
at least Nixon's list was short by comparison.
That's true.
Go ahead, Mo. Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's done in public view. All the things that Nixon was trying to hide and deny, Trump is doing in plain view for everyone to see. And even though Nixon sat down with David Frost and basically said, well, if the president does it, then that makes it legal. I mean, you're seeing the embodiment of that now. And I'm quite sure he would point to the camera and said, see, I told you so.
Yeah, just before you say anything, Michael, I just want to remind people who might just be joining us. Again, this is a memorandum sent by Pam Bondi, and she talks about anti-Americanism, anti-capitalism, anti-Christianity, opposition to law and immigration enforcement, radical gender ideology, and hostility toward traditional family views on family, religion, and morality as some of the political agendas espoused by individuals who might merit investigation. I mean, that is a crackdown on criticism.
It is. And it's also, I mean, look, they're very good, this administration and the people in it, at making you afraid of something that doesn't exist. But they're going to have to come up with receipts on Antifa. Benny Thompson, the congressman from Mississippi, was talking about was in a hearing recently, asking an FBI official about Antifa, where it's headquartered, who is in it. And the FBI, they had no idea. I mean, it's just one simple question. You're going after Antifa. Where are they? Who are they? And it's one thing to say I brought down drug prices and people don't go home and check. But if you're talking about stopping actual people, and movements. You've got to come up with the receipts there at some point, and they're not going to find them. And that's why it's a little bit, I mean, it's scary and its surface, what it means about the First Amendment, et cetera, but it's also a pathetic effort. And I think it's just about the headline.
I wish I had more time. I do not. I also wish I were going to speak with you next week, but we are dark on the day after Christmas, which I don't need to remind you is my birthday. Thank you very much.
And I will say, Mark, it is my favorite baseball player whose birthday, whose poster, Chris Chambliss. Exactly. Yeah. His posters decorated my room as a boy. Everywhere, everything was Chris Chambliss. So you are now, it's exciting. You're now my second favorite person born on December 20th.
Well, I guess that's a list. That's a different kind of list that I'm worthy of making. Mo, love you. Michael, love you. Thank you, guys. Have a great holiday. And we'll talk
Merry
again
Christmas.
in the new year. All right. So long.
The Mark Thompson Show.
This is Mark Thompson.
Right on. Where's my jingle bell sounder, Albert? I think it's, do I have, I just feel like I'm doing oh, there it is. Thank you. Thank you very much. Just something to get my hips moving.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Yeah.
This is Mark Thompson.
This is a word from the Lord, and he's not happy. Can you let him finish, sir?
Right on. It's the 6th night of Chinooka is what we learned, right? Smokey Robinson told us Chinooka has 8 nights, and tonight is night 6. Christmas is creeping up next week, and we will be dark on Christmas. We will be here on Christmas Eve, though, everyone.
What?
I know. Christmas Eve, you can spend that morning with us. Kim, you'll be here, won't you?
I will. I'm feeling like, though, we're leaving out Hanukkah. Maybe we should, is there a more important day in Hanukkah? Like, is the 8th day the key? Should we take a Hanukkah day off as well?
Well, Kim, not
another day off.
Very much on
Yeah.
brand that Kim
Yeah.
would be looking for another day off. It
Thank
would,
you.
Listen to me. I don't want to hear you.
Yeah. I am.
Kim, how are you?
I'll tell you what I will do, Kim.
Yeah.
I will give you the day off for any day you want next week, in addition to the 2 days that you're getting. You're already getting 2 days off. If you want to take a third day off, I will grant you that liberty and blessing.
What?
Yeah.
I was just saying that I feel like, I didn't want to be religiously exclusive.
I see.
God bless America.
Yeah.
The end.
That is it's cool that you're inclusive that way.
Thank you.
And you feel the best way to recognize that inclusion is to get a third day off next week.
Who is having
Yeah.
that conversation?
I love that.
I mean, I'm nothing
I
if
love
not
that.
woke, Mark,
Ooh, it's a wild idea, but it just might work.
You got to suggest it. I don't blame you for suggesting it. Wishing Mark and his stellar crew and the Remarkables too comfort and joy. Eileen and Lee cop $50.
Big shout out.
Big shout out. I'm not going to cry. I sent you an email that was sent to me by Eileen and Lee. You have it, Albert? I had it.
Albert, thank you.
Yeah, let me see it.
Oh my
I was just looking at
I
it.
can't believe it. I send you this stuff before the show. So
Whoever is producing this thing has no idea what they're doing.
I have it right
you.
here.
You got it.
It says happy holidays to you and the whole gang and everyone in the chat too. And they sent a picture of them from 45 years ago.
Exactly.
when
Can
they
we
were
put the picture
doing
up, please? That is
holiday
great.
shows for elementary schools all over the Bay Area. They were called the Fantasy Company. And there's Lee and Eileen in their fantasy.
Would you
company
like to
days.
apologize for what you've done?
I don't know. I love it. I love it. Look at those 2 cute kids. And now they're 2 cute older kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Thank you, Lee and Eileen, and thank you for the
you.
contribution to the show as well.
Nice.
The holiday rod for Christmas Eve to the Remarkables. I will be producing a special rod of equity and mercy on Christmas Eve for those who need to encourage others to come on New Year's Eve. Show up in the morning, and I will have in the morning on the West Coast and early afternoon on the East Coast. I will have the rod of equity and mercy. This, if he's going to put his name on everything, says SJ Runner, let's at least make sure it's spelled properly, and then you can see it there. I'm not going to say it. Thank you, SJ. I like a little seditious cleverness. Yeah. Well, we've really reached that time in the show. On Fridays, we like to feature something that is curated solely by Albert. So if you don't like this segment, you can blame Albert completely, squarely, 100%. Kim and I have little to nothing to do with it. If you like the segment, I can take full credit because I hired Albert. Yes. And so,
Do you know who I am?
Just saying.
I'm kind of a big deal.
This is Friday Fabulous Florida.
It's time for Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
A look at the weirdest stories from our weirdest state.
You'd like me to start with the Florida woman, probably. Am I right?
Yes, I like that.
The Florida woman in a Santa hat, which is sweet for the holidays.
Yeah.
Caught on camera stealing toys from the donation box.
What? No.
Yep.
That's all wrong.
The Martin County Sheriff's Office reporting that this woman removed a box of toys from the Barbecue Beer Company in Jensen Beach. Investigators said that she was never asked or tasked with taking the toys for any organization. In other words, you can see what she's doing now. She's taking the entire box. She's dragging the entire box of toys out. Cecilia Josephine Milano, 64 years of age. I hate it when the older boys and girls turn to a life of crime in Florida. She was booked into the Martin County Jail. Her bond is $2,500. She was wearing a Santa hat. I mean, there's nothing sacred.
Is that why no one stopped her?
Exactly. She had the Santa hat, get out of my way pass going.
It looked official, Santa official.
The toys were intended for a charity drive benefiting a specific needy family through Elevate Hope. Of course, the toys never arrived. Community tipsters helped investigators track down the woman. And 64-year-old Cecilia Josephine Milano, shown there on the right, yapping as she was taken into custody, was taken down by the sheriff. And somebody's going to be cooling their heels this Christmas season. And they're not going to let you wear that Santa hat inside the joint. A Florida man on an e-bike is arrested, accused of stealing jewelry from a former friend.
What?
This is the kind of story that breaks my heart, frankly. Breaks my heart. When the stealing of jewelry stands in the way of a friendship. He chased an uninvited former friend, did this man, out of his bedroom when this former friend, and he was a friend until this happened, was in the bedroom and going through jewelry. He found jewelry missing, did this guy, and on proactive patrol in the city, a deputy spotted the man accused of this burglary on an e-bike. Body cam footage from the sheriff's office shows a deputy pushing this man off of his e-bike and into a fence before placing him under arrest. And they found
quote in this. The deputy said Braddock sped away from him on the e-bike To which he replied, "I can't help what my bike does."
Oh, I see. He explained the fleeing from the cops that way. I can't help it if my bike automatically flees from the police. Yeah. But they did find, when they caught him, what did they find, Albert? They found some gold, right?
Yeah, and lockpicking tools as well. So
So he had a kind of a life of crime going, it seemed, this guy. And he's the former friend, so he's lost a friend in all of this.
All over a little bling.
Yep. Yeah. Crimer's gonna crime. Criminal's gonna criminal. And finally, my friends, we leave you with this. A South Florida man wrongly accused and arrested over his license plate frame. Albert, give me more details on this, please.
But in a surprising twist, police are now apologizing, admitting they were wrong. NBC6's Amanda Placencia with details on the wrongful arrest.
Something needs to be done because that's not right.
DeMarquis Dawson says he spent Monday night in jail after he was pulled over and arrested by Davie police for the license plate frame on his rental car.
He said, "I'm arresting you because the S on your license plate is obscured. The S of sunshine."
On his social media, Dawson posted this photo of the license frame, but according to an updated memo yesterday by Florida Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles, your frame can cover the top or bottom of the plate as long as an officer can identify the state. After Dawson's arrest, Davie police apologized and had this statement, which read in part, "At the initial release of this updated law, the wording was vague, unclear, and appeared to be open for misinterpretation. Since the memo..."
That's a kind of non-apology apology. It was sort of
My bad. I'm sorry.
I really think you book the guy in.
We're sorry, but your license plate really sucks.
All right.
I stand corrected.
I think that was a little weak in the apology. But we kind of know our apologies around here, and I thought that was really weak.
It was wrong. It was stupid, and I'm trying to be a better person.
Saying at minimum, I would say that your apology was weak. Well, that apology. And the South Florida man wrongly arrested over the license plate frame. That's just one of these stories that we featured. The other two, the Florida man on the e-bike accused of stealing jewelry from his former friend. He's pulled over by the cops, and after the chase, he said, "I can't help it. What my e-bike does, it does." So, I mean, it ran from you guys. I had no control over it. He also had a bunch of other tools used for other kinds of crime. And the Florida woman in the Santa hat caught on camera stealing toys from a donation box. She dragged the whole damn box out. So please share your favorites in the comments as we go around. We don't like to pick a favorite. It's like picking between kids. But we must. The bylaws of the show require it. And I ask you, Kim, what was your favorite story?
I really do like the the comment about the e-bike having a mind of its own. But I think in the spirit of the holidays, I'm going to go with the thieving Santa.
The Grinch lady. Yeah. Sergio agrees with you. Woman
a lot
stealing
of people in
toys,
the
says Cheryl.
comments. A lot of people in the comments like that story.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Albert?
It was a rough Florida this week. They seem to have their act together for the holidays. I had to really go digging. And it's wintertime, so our cold-blooded creatures, the gators, are pretty dormant for the next few months.
Oh, that's right. They're not going to be a lot of reptile stories, yeah.
So yeah, it's either I had to really look for some stories this week, but yeah, I like the Santa lady because it's just the audacity.
Yeah, audacity is a ding word. Very well done. That is Friday Fabulous Florida.
This has been Friday Fabulous Florida.
There is a gigantic alligator in my kitchen.
Y'all come back now here.
As any leader would want, you want to own that responsibility. As you can imagine, in the Department of War, we have a lot of things to do. As any leader would want, you want to own that responsibility. As you can imagine, in the Department of War, we have a lot of things to do.
No, no, no.
This is called the fog of war.
Albert, thank you.
As any leader would want, you want to own that responsibility.
I have a busy week.
Put that coffee down.
This is called the fog of war.
Oh my God. I know.
The thing was on fire. It was exploded in fire or smoke. You can't see anything. You got digital thing. This is called the fog of war.
I've never seen anything like it.
I watched that first strike line.
That was very inappropriate.
As any leader would want, you want to own that responsibility.
Seriously, what the
As you can imagine, the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs.
They had to close down an entire radio station to silence him. And now he's here. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Thompson.
Thank you all. All hail the presence of the Culture Blaster in our midst. I am very excited to see him always, and today he brings in a holiday cheer. He comes and goes on the rainbow. He is the wonderful Michael Snyder. You are the Culture Blaster. You blast, and I'm going to say something. I'm humbled by the great rapport you have with Mo Kelly, because I feel as though you two together actually do a better job with this segment than you and I do.
Well, we are going to try to get together sometime over the next few weeks into the beginning of the year.
What I mean.
And
I think I've helped birth a friendship here between you and Mo Kelly.
Stuff. Sit down at a local cafe and get it out. Talk our favorites. We do share a common love of various science fiction franchises, which is a good thing to note.
I thought you were going to say a common love of me.
No. In fact, I was so shocked to even see you here today, considering you're such a world traveler. And,
wow.
It was great to talk to Mo in your absence.
Yes.
I do want to say happy holidays to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Kim, I am looking so forward to the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th days of Hanukkah. I didn't even know. And I mean, wow, we're going to really extend this thing into the 12 days of Christmas.
For those who missed it, we were guessing how many days of Hanukkah there were, and we actually had to go around for a long time to get the answer, even though it seems pretty well advertised.
I've been writing a new song, The 12 Days of Hanukkah. It's going to be just like that Christmas
one. We went 14, 12. It was pretty great.
By the way, I'm really excited because of the holiday season, and also because I have a wonderful marketing opportunity. You've heard of guided missiles, right? I have developed guided mistletoe on remote-controlled hovering drones.
I love that idea.
Guided mistletoe.
Guided mistletoe.
So you're at the Christmas party. You got your little remote control thing. You sit next to someone you really like, and then you just. I think it's a commercial bonanza.
Finally, some well-spent defense budget money.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. One more quick note. Maybe the Donald J. Trump, John F. Kennedy Memorial Center of the Performing Arts isn't a bad idea.
Oh, no, I get what you did there.
Yeah. No, it's a bad idea.
All right. Tell me what great films and offerings creatively you're going to be reviewing.
I shall. Let's just get started, okay? Again, I mentioned science fiction franchises. Avatar, Fire and Ash.
Oh, yeah. They say in the advertisement it's the best Avatar yet.
Yeah, some paid-off tout said that. Let me just get down to business here. This is the third movie in filmmaker James Cameron's multi-billion-dollar sci-fi franchise about forces from Earth that land on an unspoiled alien planet called Pandora. Boy, pretty creative. To heedlessly mine Pandora for its massive caches of a rare element called, and I always think this is ridiculous, unobtainium. I guess you can't find it anywhere.
Is that really what it's called?
That's what Mr. Cameron has dubbed this rare element, unobtainium. The problem, other than that stupid name, unobtainium, is that Pandora is home to a sentient population of noble, average 10-foot-tall blue bipeds with a rich tribal culture and a near mystical affinity for the creatures and environments with which they share this world. So Earth's military might is directed at these nice folks who call themselves Na'vi and ride what appear to be, I don't know, flying lizards, pterodactyls, I don't know. These lizards that they mentally control by plugging their braids into the winged wonders. No joke. So, it's suspension of disbelief is imperative here. Like, you
don't buy the braid plugging as a way to maybe connect with the pterodactyls?
Yeah, whatever those things are. You buy that. It's like
I get it, but I think it's believable as anything.
Buy the premise and you buy the bid.
I get it.
Okay, many of the cast members are back from the previous movie or two, perhaps because they love working with Cameron of Aliens and Titanic fame, or because they love being in a wildly successful, world-renowned series of blockbuster movies, or because their contracts are ironclad, and the pay is good. So the major returnees are Sam Worthington as human soldier Jake Sully, whose consciousness is transferred into a cloned Na'vi body in the first movie to serve as a spy for the Earth forces until he becomes enchanted by the Na'vi way and goes native.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, I guess so. He hooks up with...
That happened in the first movie?
Yeah. So he hooks up with Na'vi Netiri, a hot female Na'vi played by
That
Zoe.
also seems like a good plan.
Zoe Saldana.
Oh,
Hey,
girl,
she's like 10
baby
foot
girl.
tall.
Don't even play.
She is a tall blue drink of water is all I can tell you. But by the way, the technology that makes these Na'vi look real and their faces expressive as the actors, it is remarkable, no question. Okay, we also get the return of Sigourney Weaver as Kiri, a human scientist inhabiting a clone Na'vi body. Kate Winslet and Cliff Curtis, not so recognizable, but they're Na'vi good guys. And of course, you got to have a bad guy, a main bad guy. And that's Stephen Lang as the vicious human military man / colonizer Quaritch, now in one of those clone Na'vi bodies and determined to subdue the natives and kill Jake.
Oh, so it's Na'vi on Na'vi, but some of the Na'vis aren't real Na'vis.
Exactly.
Okay.
And Jake, of course, has been branded a traitor by the Earth Invasion Force because he, went native. He bought in. I don't know that it's necessarily Stockholm Syndrome, but it's Pandora Syndrome.
Somebody's saying, Mr. Cameron, pick up your creativity in Lost and Found. Did you not like, you didn't think it was creative enough, said JR? What do you think?
Well, let me
Go ahead.
Get
You're
few
still
more
still laying out the plot.
I am. So
Okay.
new to the blue here, we get Una Chaplin, a granddaughter of Charlie, terrific actress, by the way. She's a villainous banshee of a Na'vi clan leader who teams with Lang's Quaritch character to bring down Jake and his family, which has expanded with offspring, at least one clone kid, feral human teen. So in some Na'vi quarters, Jake is still mistrusted due to his human origins, but to many, he is the great blue hope of his adopted people. Okay, from a visual standpoint, to respond to the question of
yes, creativity.
Yeah, oh my God. Avatar Fire and Ash is a stunning digital dazzle that is actually more impressive than before. Even if the look of the landscapes and the seascapes and the atmospheres of Pandora continue to seem like, and here's a little reference for you, blatant ripoffs of those fantastical album covers done by Roger Dean for the band Yes. It looks like, Cameron gave everybody in the art team the covers of all these Yes albums. This is what I want Pandora to look like. This is also dogged by more repetitive plot elements, numerous subplots, way too many, and elaborate but sometimes wonky world building.
John Watson is saying just what you're saying. Sounds like the exact same plot of the first two, he said.
Well, this is just a continuation of that story. There's more of this patented trite dialogue that's been tolerated in the earlier Avatar movies because of these large swaths of insane, action-packed eye candy. And as with
you saying good dialogue was unobtainium?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
As with the other Avatar movies, the frequently effective and let's call it cortex scrambling on-screen thrills and the accompanying sonic bombast are the equivalent of a 3-hour and 12-minute theme park ride when seen in the proper theatrical setting. Right. I don't want to forget. Like the previous Avatar movie, The Way of Water, this runs over 3 hours without an intermission.
Wow.
So, for the record, by the way, 2009's franchise launching Avatar was only 2 hours and 42 minutes long.
Bring a pillow, says Phineas. It's like 3+ hours.
After Avatar Fire and Ash was over, Mark, I was done with my overdue visit to the restroom, and I asked myself if the sequel-driven Cameron couldn't have made maybe another Titanic movie instead. Maybe one. Wait, I got this. The xenomorphs from Alien raise and restore the Titanic, turn it into a flying gunship, and try to enslave Earth. I would prefer that to the inevitable fourth chapter in the Avatar saga.
But we're only on the third chapter. You felt that this is what I'm getting from you, Michael, in addition to all of your cheeky
quippage.
Yes, directed toward one of the great directors in history, James Cameron. I get that you feel like it's a little bit overwrought. It doesn't have anything really new to it. It's overstuffed for 3+ hours, but visually as spectacular as the other two.
You do not kill the big blue calf. You know, you made one of.
But it's not a total waste of time.
No, I mean, if you're a fan of this stuff, it's amazing. And I did not really feel the need to hit the restroom until it was done. But I will say this: it was more of the same. And the criticisms I levied, I stand by.
Do you need to see the first two to get the number
Mark,
3?
Of course you do.
Oh,
Otherwise,
okay.
This is like you
Is
and
there a
Courtney
place
going
to
to
see
see
the first
Avengers Endgame without seeing Avengers Before Game. Come on. As if there was one entitled Before Game. All right, someone had the genius idea. By the way, it's in theaters.
Are we done? Good. Okay, let's move on.
If you want to see it, go to an IMAX theater and pay the money. Someone had this genius idea box office-wise.
No, I meant, are we done with the segment?
Yeah, am I done with you?
You've only reviewed one film?
I've only scratched the surface.
God.
It's a blockbuster. The review was a blockbuster.
All right, go ahead.
Someone had this idea, and it was clever in terms of box office, to cast Amanda Seyfried opposite Sydney Sweeney in an off-the-wall thriller with a couple of seriously effed up moments of torture. You got the Bratz doll of a starlet who has turned into an accomplished actress, by the way. Her work in The Testament of Anne Lee, and I'm talking Seyfried, which is out next week, is superb. And they've teamed her.
She's related to who?
Nobody.
Okay.
They've teamed her. They're not all
How did she get ahead in Hollywood?
babies. They're not all legacy
Okay.
kids, Mark. And anyway, she's teamed with every white supremacist's favorite bosomy pinup. That's right, Sydney Sweeney. The result is The Housemaid. And in The Housemaid, which is not to be confused, fans of literature and the theater, with Jean Genet's play, The Maids, Seyfried is Nina, a seemingly together real housewife of the New York burbs, living in a McMansion with a handsome, well-to-do husband, played by Brandon Sklenar, and an obnoxious prepubescent daughter. But it happens that Nina is in need of a housekeeper. Sweeney is Millie, a resourceful young woman who needs a job and has the qualifications to get this one. But shortly after Nina hires Millie, we see that neither woman is quite what they seem. There are twists and turns and more than a few WTF moments that are orchestrated with furious glee by director Paul Feig, who is probably best known for directing Bridesmaids and Spy. I don't believe that Rebecca Sonnenshine's script, which adapts the best-selling pot boiler of the same name, The Housemaid, was meant as an actual comedy like Bridesmaids or Spy. But man, I did laugh on a couple of occasions.
But this is not a comedy.
Well, I think that they're expecting this. You're going to amuse you.
Oh, okay.
I don't think it's not a blatant comedy. It's meant as a thriller, but it's like one of those, like I said, pot boilers, it's so over the top.
Pot boiler doesn't suggest that they're going to be chuckles.
There are.
All right.
So much lunacy erupts over the course of this thing. If you don't laugh at it, then you must not be getting the joke.
But then you're laughing at it, or you're laughing with it?
Yes. On the whole, The Housemaid is overheated and creepy and amusing in a campy way. Yep, Mark, you know how the Lifetime channel made its rep as a female-centric cable network with TV movies about domestic violence.
Yes.
Like Mother, May I Sleep with Danger. I've always loved that title.
All right.
And Shudder is the streaming service of choice for new horror movies. Well, The Housemaid is like Lifetime and Shudder co-produced a movie.
Wow. Okay.
Entertaining piffle.
Okay.
It's in theaters.
Got it.
Okay, let's move on to something I can endorse wholeheartedly without many caveats, although, if I don't bring a caveat, it's not me.
It's the holidays. Get me to the movies and something that I'm going to want to see.
Is This Thing On?
Why are you yelling?
Is
Okay.
far more worthy of my endorsement than either of the two previous movies cited, okay? It's not cinematic greatness, but it's got heart and soul and smarts. It's got a few smiles and a few chuckles and some wonderful performances. Despite the significant plot elements about a depressed middle-aged New Yorker trying his hand at stand-up comedy.
Now, this is that Bradley Cooper
This
thing?
is really about navigating the fallout from a marriage that's coming apart. And yes, this is Bradley Cooper's movie. It's a mixture of comedy and drama. That does happen, Mark. You can have horror and comedy and drama. It happens. And it includes a sometimes legitimate feeling look at what comedians go through at open mic nights, on the club scene. And for all that pithy inside show business stuff, Is This Thing On succeeds in large part due to the acting skills of Will Arnett and Laura Dern, who play Alex and Tess, the husband and wife in crisis. This is, in fact, the third movie directed by actor Bradley Cooper. You know, he did A Star Is Born and Maestro, and he co-wrote the script with Arnett and Mark Chappelle, and he also shows up, of course, as Alex's laconic best friend, Balls, and this guy is a purveyor of questionable advice. Although it's really perceptive and sympathetic to its characters, Is This Thing On treats everyone so gently that it doesn't kind of have much bite. It doesn't linger much in the aftermath. The supporting cast, which includes Andra Day as Balls' wife, Christine Ebersol as Alex's mother, Kieran Hines, the great Irish actor, as Alex's father, Amy Sedaris, Sean Hayes, Peyton Manning, right? The NFL quarterback turned media star plays a role here. It's a good one.
Peyton Manning plays a role that's not Peyton Manning?
Exactly.
Oh, my God.
They don't have all that much to do, though. And
Good. He should have had nothing to do except to drive by, see the set, say hello, and move on.
Well, at one point, he does pontificate on quarterbacks in the current NFL. He really does not.
I don't know.
You know,
that seems like a stunt. That seems like stunt casting.
It's up to Arnett and Dern to deliver, and they do it. So,
all right.
You know, especially Arnett. It has a real showcase here. It's in select theaters.
All right.
You know, it
sounds like it's a B minus.
It's good. It's good.
All right, B. I'll
Okay,
say B.
Let's
tell me about. I want to tell you.
Tell me.
I know a star, and I haven't had a chance to see this star much. I only have seen him on voting days, and also I feel like literally every time I go to the polling place, I bump into the voice of SpongeBob, Tom Kenny.
The great Tom Kenny, and
now,
thank you for bringing
He
this
has
up.
a movie this weekend.
I have 3 animated features that I will bang through that are good for families and feature, in the case of the SpongeBob movie, our friend Tom Kenny.
I love Tom Kenny.
We've both known him since our days back in San Francisco,
yes.
Which I continue to have days in San Francisco.
So tell me about the SpongeBob movie.
Okay, so here's the deal. SpongeBob is a critic-proof character that everybody loves. There have been countless episodes on Nickelodeon. There's been a feature film. There's all manner of recorded things, and Tom is at the center of it as the voice of SpongeBob. And SpongeBob is an actual sponge who lives in a pineapple under the sea in this fanciful world of Bikini Bottom.
You know Tom better than I do.
To tell you, wait.
Go ahead.
Just a quick preface here.
Yeah.
Last week, whether it was paid for by Paramount, the studio in charge of the SpongeBob movie, or not, Tom put his handprints in the cement in front of Grauman's Chinese Theater, which is now
very
the
cool.
TLC Chinese. And I was like so happy and proud of him. It's just remarkable that
So does Tom never have to work again?
You know the phrase mailbox money?
Has success with being the voice of SpongeBob changed Tom Kenny?
It has not. It has allowed him to pursue his muse. He is, in addition to being a funny stand-up comedian,
brilliant magician. I mean musician.
And he's left that behind the stand-up comedy for the most part. And in addition to being a very a fellow comic book and old 45 record collector.
So the money he's allowed him to buy comic books and record collections?
No, he was doing that before. He didn't care about the money. Yeah. But we have always bonded on that. He has, because of his musical interest, expanded to a lot of live performances with his band in the LA area and elsewhere. Tom Kenny and the High Seas, and if you ever get a chance to see them, they are the greatest party band you could imagine. He is a big, he's got the voice, and so he can sort of imitate the great R&B and soul singers. He's wonderful. So
I loved him in Mr. Show with David Cross and Bob Odenkirk.
He was great in Shakes the Clown. He's been terrific.
And why couldn't you get him to come visit the show today in advance of the do you consider that a fail on your part, Michael Snyder?
I consider that respect for my friend who has a private private life here in the Studio City
Well,
area.
he is actually someone who would like to promote his film, and this might have been a good place to do it. Maybe you've let him down. Did that ever occur to you, Michael Snyder?
You know, I think he thought, Grauman's Chinese or the Mark Thompson show. What am
how
I going to do?
dare you?
Okay,
Don't-
so
all right,
in
go
the
ahead.
story,
All right.
SpongeBob and his
Don't
friends
talk to me that way.
want to they want to go out there. SpongeBob has this boss, Mr. Krabs. He runs the Krabby Shack or whatever it's called, and so he decides he's going to find the mystical Flying Dutchman, which is a ghost pirate ship. And so they go to on the surface of the sea and in the depths of the sea, and it's just a lot of fun, and all your favorite characters are back in it. And to reveal any details beyond that, there's no reason to. Again, it's critic proof, but guess what? It's delightful for kids and it's funny for adults. There's a lot of smart humor that's embedded in the dialogue, and I think anyone who brings their family here is going to get a kick out of the SpongeBob movie Search for SquarePants, which is in theaters across this great nation, and we're very proud of Tom. And
he's so talented. Very excited.
He
for him.
deserves every bit of success, and also great that Clancy Brown, who is the voice of Mr. Krabs, is back, and Mark Hamill is on board.
Oh, that's right.
As a pirate specter. Regina Hall is in the movie. I'm just really thrilled that this wonderful man has this legacy and so much entertainment there for the whole family for so many years. Keep it rolling. Okay, let's get a little more art house on the animation. Scarlet is a lushly animated heroine's journey from Japan that follows a young woman's quest, and it becomes a platonic love story. Scarlet is the sword-swinging princess of a magical kingdom, and she's betrayed by, I believe it's her evil uncle who has killed her father, the king, and claimed the throne. So off she goes to save her own life and figure out how to regain the kingdom. Along the way, she meets a time-displaced EMT with a big heart and his own issues that need to be addressed back in the modern world. This comes from anime director and screenwriter Mamoru Hosoda, who made the Oscar-nominated Mireille and Belle. It's in select LA and San Francisco theaters for Oscar consideration. Scarlet, beautiful and fanciful. And let's just wrap this with, I'm a Francophile.
Yes,
and
you are. You're fluent in French, in fact.
I am. And A Magnificent Life is the latest beauty from French animator Sylvain Chomet, the guy who did The Triplets of Belleville and The Illusionist, which are gorgeous and wonderful films. And this is not up to that level, but what it is for this Francophile and cinephile, it's a biography of legendary Marseille-born playwright and filmmaker Marcel Pagnol. And it just tells his story in reflection as he, in the 50s, is writing a piece for Elle magazine about his life and career. And it's, again, beautifully animated and has a rich sense of time and place. But the English language dub that I watched had all the French characters speak with various pronounced UK and Irish accents, and the English script uses copious UK slang instead of the more neutral argot. And I was like, what did you guys, please, why didn't you not give me access to the French original with subtitles?
I see. Yeah.
That said, it is a lovely movie for, again, a cineast and Francophile like me who adores Pagnol's Marseille film trilogy.
Wow.
Marius, Fanny, and César. A Magnificent Life is worth seeing, particularly if these are interests of yours. It is in select theaters.
Well, you've really covered a lot of territory. I'll try to summarize as best I can.
You do that.
The Magnificent Life, you just heard about that. The biography of that Marseille-born writer.
Yes, Marcel Pagnol.
Yes, Michael very much liked it, although he was a little cheated out of the French that usually defines the immersive Francophile experience to which he's become accustomed. But that's in theaters.
Yes.
Scarlet is the animated offering. It's beautiful. It's fanciful. It's not quite as great as the other two.
Mireille and Belle.
Yes, but you really liked it, and he really does full-throatedly and full-heartedly endorse it. Scarlet is in theaters. The SpongeBob movie.
Fun, baby.
With our friend Tom Kenny as the voice of SpongeBob, and other friends like Mark Hamill. It sounds to me like all of Hollywood is in this one. Everybody wanting to impress their kid or grandkid by being in the SpongeBob movie.
Very true.
And Michael says, you will love it. Is this thing on? Is the Bradley Cooper directed film about navigating a marriage falling apart. Will Arnett, the Laura Dern star, along with a lot of other cameos, including one from Peyton Manning, which could be enough to ruin the movie for me. I like Peyton Manning. I just don't think he belongs in the movie. But all right, I'll give it a ride.
He's smooth, buddy.
He co-wrote this, did Bradley Cooper, with Will Arnett and Mark Chappelle. Michael says, not a perfect movie, but he likes it. The Housemaid is the Amanda Seyfried and Sydney Sweeney offering that involves the housekeeper. It's directed by Paul Feig. It's lunacy, overheated, campy stuff. Michael, it seemed, I would say you got to give it like a B.
I was wildly entertained by it, but it is completely a guilty pleasure. You know who would like this film? Kim.
Oh, Kim would like this. Yeah. Kim likes guilty pleasures. Kim may be a monument to guilty pleasures.
Yeah, well.
Avatar, Fire and Ash, the third film in the Avatar series. Forces from Earth landing on Pandora. They're going after the unobtainium.
Unobtainium.
10-foot blue people running around. The Na'vi population infiltrated by some, embraced by others. The braid plug-in. There's a lot going on.
Oh, man.
Avatar Fire and Ash is over 3 hours. Michael says it's good if you like that kind of run through the world of what is a breakthrough animation and storytelling from the standpoint of continuing the story of the Na'vi people. It is in theaters, which is, I imagine, the place you probably would recommend people see it.
It's more of the same, and I say that in a positive way for the blithering fans, and I say it in a negative way for those of us who want to be a little more discerning about our filmmaking. No question, James Cameron is masterful at this stuff, but, you know, to what end?
Laconic is pointed out as a ding word from Tom. Pithy is pointed out as a ding word from Tom.
Don't get pithy on me.
Caveat is pointed out as a ding word from Tom. Also, during your segment was this from Cousin Erie. Get on with it.
Yeah. Hey, just pause.
Now you know how I feel when the audience turns on me. I had to share that with you.
Pause and move forward.
I am so grateful for the great Culture Blaster. Culture Blaster, I hope that there'll be an opportunity for you to come visit us next week. We will not be on the air next Friday. It is my birthday. I'm sure you're going to be observing it in some special way. It's not a religious holiday per se, but it's got a sense of solemnity and specialness to it nonetheless.
I'll be burning you in effigy.
I am looking forward. Maybe we can squeeze you in on a Wednesday.
Wednesday, I'm going to be back. I'm going to be talking about Marty Supreme, Song Sung Blue, and a lot of the Christmas Day releases, which are really the movies that you were kind of referring to that you expected as big holiday blockbusters.
Right.
But honestly...
So you'll come in on Wednesday.
I sure will. By the way, quick note, two things. If you're in Los Angeles, the 30th anniversary revival of The Love Show with Ann Magnuson, the wonderful actress and singer, is at Zebulon on Sunday at 7 p.m.
That's
and
in L.A., okay.
Next Sunday, Serious Coolness.
Okay.
And tonight, this is good. The Holiday Bash is a concert and toy and food drive with some of L.A.'s finest Americana bands and musicians. It's at the Echo tonight from 6 p.m. to who knows when. Great groups, and it's free with a minimum toy or food donation.
Do you remember when we went to the Echo space together?
Yes, I do.
We will tell that story maybe next week.
Maybe.
We ran into a transvestite. Is that, you're not supposed to say that anymore?
No, that was a drag queen, dude.
A drag queen. All right. You're right. I don't know the term. I'm going to get the terminology straight, and we'll tell the story next week. He comes and goes on a rainbow. The great Culture Blaster, Michael Snyder.
Catch me at thevoicesf.org.
Oh, thevoicesf.org. You'll be able to hang out and catch his musings, the great Michael Snyder.
The Mark Thompson Show.
Albert, I can't do this anymore. I'm finding myself overwhelmed by obligation of one sort or another. I really am. I just can't do it. I think you can appreciate that the responsibility of hosting this show has overtaken me, and I've, like an Avatar film that has gone on too long, we have extended beyond our general 2-hour-ish live program parameters. We've now bled into a third hour, Albert. So I would do the whole third hour, but I know Kim is always looking for a day off and a way to get out of it. So I don't want to.
We're just prepping the audience for their experience watching the new Avatar film.
Yes, exactly. This is sort of like a tolerance exam of sorts. Again, I want to thank everybody who supports the show. Any way you do, we do appreciate it. And Kim, it sounds like you wanted to say something.
The Justice Department has just released some of the Epstein files.
Anything in there that we need to know about?
They're currently being read through by a series of reporters to see what's in there. But so far, we don't know, just to say that there have been some files released by the Justice Department. I'm looking right now at the website, the Department of Justice website.
Yeah.
And they say that they have a privacy notice up and you can search the full library. So I don't know. I haven't seen what they have yet.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to get into it, I guess, with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
We'll look into it and we will report on it here on Monday.
That's not fake. That's real.
Yeah, we will be here on Monday. So with that said, no, I don't. No, I need that. No, okay. All right. All right. I asked earlier for the Christmas music, and that's, I guess I'll get that on Monday.
That was rather Christmassy. That had some Christmas flair.
Yeah, we'll have some Christmas flair next week. Chinooka wraps up this weekend, and happy Chinooka, as Smokey Robinson would say, to all of our Jewish boys and girls, or anybody observing, because you don't have to be Jewish to observe the Festival of Lights. And just as you don't need to be Christian or observant to observe Christmas. So I am an observer of everything. The more observant I am of different things, I like to observe, and I'll be observing next week. The After Party Live is over on the After Party Live channel. Thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend, and until Monday.
I'm Shadow Stevens for the Mark Thompson Show. Bye-bye.
Thanks to Mo Kelly, thanks to Michael Shure, thanks to Michael Snyder, and out of time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.